Okay, so let's wrap this up. Look, these are micro videos. If you need to watch the full session, go back and watch the full session. But this gives you an overview on listening and questioning skills, because really that's what this comes back to. Yeah. So, what are my tips for you? My tips are as follows. Look, I like you to write notes. I think when you write notes, it shows that you care. It shows you're interested. It changes the relationship you have with your customer. The people that write notes are definitely more effective than people that are not. Also, it helps you remember, and it helps you do your proper notes after you've had your meetings. When you step into a meeting, clear your mind. And there's this really big danger, you're right, that number one, you assume things. And number two, all you're doing is thinking, how do I progress this in a way that I get what I want? When really the purpose of this past, present, future is to get this deeper understanding of why they do what they do and drill down. The reason I say drill down 3 times is quite often you find out as you drill down, the third piece, right, of information that you get is actually the most critical. I read in a book, very interesting point about questioning and listening. The client has information that he doesn't know. The client has information that you don't know either. So by default, neither of you know what you're trying to find out. So, but we want to find that information out. We want to know what that is. We don't know what that is yet, right? So when we're going through the question, we're trying to find these nuggets. When we find them, they're the differentiator. They're the piece of information that changes the whole relationship with the client and our relationship with the information that we have that allows us to engage with the client far more effectively. And it does work like that almost every single time. I've seen it dozens and dozens of times, yeah, right? And it does unfold like that. And ask open questions. Look, I don't mind a closed question. There's nothing wrong with closed questions. You've got to follow it with an open question. Concentrate on listening. Trust me, it's not as easy as you think it is. You've got to focus on it. You've got to concentrate. You've got to listen to what they're saying, and also you've got to practice it. Yeah, so you've got to practice hard at listening skills. The only way you can do that is by practicing in a safe environment with your friends, your family, your kids, your auntie, uncle in the hawker center, whatever you want, right? But you've got to practice it, yeah, right? Practice, practice, practice. And you should know how to mirror. It's an uncomfortable thing when you first do it. You're mirroring the last 3 words of what they said with an upward inflection. That creates a question. And mirroring is critical. It's one of the most useful tools in sales. And what in asking and questioning, because what it does is it allows the flow of the conversation to keep going along in a very very sort of almost linear fashion, right? It's the clients talking about something, you then ask a question about that. It's very natural. Whereas if you ask them a question about something else, even if it's in a slight tangent only, you have to think about it. You get this pause. You can see that happening, yeah, right? You can see the flow changing. And learn to pause, think about what the person said. Okay? Take your time, learn to pause, practice it. And then there's nothing wrong with confirming what you've heard. Confirm it. Come back to them and say, look, I heard you say this. Can you clarify what you meant by that? Or I heard you say this. Am I right interpreting it like this? Okay? So questioning and listening is not as easy as it seems. That's some core tips on it. Have a think about them. They're pretty important. They're a distillation of everything I've learned over the last 10 years of work. And good luck with your past, present, future. It's the most important part of the sales process. This is the piece that lets the client know that you know what you're talking about, that you care about them, and that you understand them. What more do you want?